Something is always wrong with that child. Hello, friends. It is me and the Queen. Well, hello, folks. Today I decided that I wanted to burn one of my sage sticks that I made with juniper and sage blossoms. So, please don't mind me while I try to get this thing started without burning my house down or catching myself on fire. It smells really good. So, let's just begin. Where to start? While I have been lollygagging this morning, I wrote a list that 6 things I need to tell you guys. They were really more so reminders to myself, but I figured that I'm sorry if you can hear the washing machine, but I figured that if it's something that I need to remind myself about, maybe somebody else out there needs to hear it too. Yeah, I didn't really know what to title this video, but I think I'm gonna go with the next day. Or like I think either the next day or the next few days. But, yeah, I wanted to kind of just talk about the next few days after you have experienced the loss of somebody, something, someone, someplace that you love. And because I had a fresh loss yesterday, and it's been a while since I've personally felt kind of a little smack in the back of the neck. And as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one. So this is both a reminder that I never want you guys to ever feel like you're by yourself. And I've always wanted this channel to be a little space of comfort to go if you ever feel like you're by yourself or feel like nobody understands you. Maybe you feel like people might get you, but that nobody's really going through what you're going through right now. That, yeah, is kind of what this channel is for and what this video is going to be about. I want to just shout out some... So, sorry if this is all over the place. I'm a little tired and sad, but that is okay. But that is perfectly okay. I just had to remind myself a few things this morning while I was experiencing some... I was like, what in God's name? I've been tagged! So, yeah, I needed to remind myself about a couple things this morning as I realized, like, whoa, you're about to induce a panic attack. Oh, your body is starting to hurt. Oh, you aren't motivated to do anything. And to me, those are big red flags that I think I'm gonna go get some water. Yeah, you pooted getting up onto my bed. Some toys. Okay. So, distractions. The world is filled with distractions. Alright, so usually, and I feel bad because I feel like that one family member or that one friend of yours that you only ever see when it's a funeral. Like, do you ever have those people in your life? Like, the only time you ever see them is when there's a funeral. Like, somebody's either dead, dying, or maybe just born. But rarely do they let you know. No, rarely do they let you know if anybody's born nowadays. It's all just about death. Yesterday was a tough little day for me. It was a day that I had always thought about and always knew, like, dang, it's gonna really suck. That's gonna suck. That's gonna stink. So, you guys have been following me for a really, really long time, and you know the little baddies that sit on my bed. Well, one of them passed away yesterday, and like I said, not only did it remind me of a lot of things, because I feel like anytime you go through trauma, past trauma is just brought up no matter what. Like, doesn't even matter how much self-control you have. It's like just memories start coming back, or, you know, you just start being reminded of other things. So that's kind of what happened to me, and I wanted to gain control of it before I fell into the habit of being unhealthy, if that makes sense. Because I personally know with myself that anytime I experience a loss, it hinders my progress. And it's crazy because I feel like I was on such a nice little path. It was a foreign path. I'd never been on it before, obviously. But I was on this little path and I was journeying through life. But it was calm and it was peaceful. And I was kind of finding my way. Like I said, it was a little like just me and some flowers and maybe like a bumblebee or butterfly passing on. But I was pretty kind of like in a secluded little spot, which was okay because, like, sometimes we'd seclude ourselves to care for ourselves so we could get back out into the world. So I felt like I was out of my little like seclusion box, and then all of a sudden that happened. So I was like, okay, this is great. April is already a awesome month. So I was just like, well, here's a new test that life is going to be throwing at me. And I know I sometimes feel like I'm on a path all by myself, but I am in no way the only person walking this earth right now. So I know that I'm not the only person who has ever lost anything or has currently lost something. And I've lost family members, but this is my first like actual pet I've lost. I've had animals before, but I've never had one for this long. Or when I lost them, I was so young that I don't even remember, of course I was sad, but it was like a little kid sad, when you don't even know what's going on. So this is kind of my first one that's like, oh, I'm old enough to understand. Yeah, I'm like old enough to, yeah, just understand. So, this is why I definitely wrote a list of things to talk about because I don't want to go off on random tangents. But this is, my first little friend that animal friend that I've lost. And it sucks. I've had him since I was like 8 years old, and I've grown up with that cat. So, I also want this to be a message because, like, it does not matter what you've experienced or what you've been through. That doesn't regulate how you feel pain, how you perceive situations, how you handle situations. I personally thought that I understood the whole walk of grief. Like, you know what I mean? Because when you go through things, sometimes you're like, oh, I've been through it enough, I know what to expect. But this is like, the world is a crazy place. So we really can't have expectations for anything. So me going around my life, I had expectations that, I've said goodbye to some very close loved ones. Losing an animal is not gonna be that big of a deal. But holy moly, was I wrong. So I also just want this to kind of be a message for anybody out there who has ever gotten hard on themselves or feels like silly for crying over an animal or crying over like something, anything that's minuscule to some other people, or like say somebody's never had an animal before. So then they're like, oh, I'm sorry you lost a dog. Oh, I'm sorry your fish died. It's kind of like some people don't get it. So, and I'm not saying that I completely get it just because my cat died, but I just want to let you know that no, this is not a judgmental place. And I promise I'm the last person to ever judge anybody for what they're being sad. I just want to be the one that's saying it's okay if you're upset. It's okay to be sad. It's okay if you want to take a day off of work. It's okay if you want to sit and cry. You know what I mean? A loss is a loss. And I don't think we're told that. I'm not told that. I wasn't told that. And I think this is one of the reasons why my parents held off on animals, because, you grow such a special bond with these little things that can barely even talk back. So, anyway, tangent, Sarah. I just wanted to go over a list of a few reminders that I told myself because this morning was really hard, and yesterday was the day it happened. So, like, dealing with that, I think my adrenaline was a little high, my anxiety was obviously high, but I was in, like, a survival mode. I wasn't, like, really present, if that makes sense. I was just having to deal with stuff. And like I said, I haven't been in this position for years. And so it's like, welcome back, Sarah. This little bubble of space didn't go anywhere. But I was having a really rough morning. I felt odd. My body was like aching. My heart was hurting. And I didn't like that. And I know how easy it is for that to continue day after day after day after day if we're not careful. Any other day of the week is something else, you know, when we're dealing with just the commonality of the world, of being just annoyed by the day-to-day things. That's different, all right? But when we're confronted with a really big loss or a death, you know, we kind of have to handle ourselves a little bit differently. Because, for example, if you don't, this is the easiest time to fall into bad habits. When you are in pain, when you are sad, in the blink of an eye, your routine can go out the window. Your habits, your very good habits, your self-care habits, your upkeeping habits will disappear and will literally just flutter into the distance, and it'll be months and months and months before we kind of realize what happened. So I felt that this morning. I felt that I was completely unmotivated and didn't want to do anything. So here comes the sun. Ba-da-da-da. So here's my list that I made while trying to proceed with my morning. And I think I did an all right job in kind of like reversing. I know it's going to take a couple days, but I think I did a good job at stopping what was about to happen. So I want to hopefully help you if you ever find yourself in that position as well. So the first thing on my list is you have to remember to keep eating and drinking. This morning I was so sick to my stomach that I didn't want to eat. I didn't even have dinner last night. So it was like, Sarah, you know how my body gets so anxious and my heart starts beating so fast if I don't eat properly. I'm sure, everybody's like, duh. We all get that way. But I know we don't need that on top of the anxiety that we're already feeling. That pit in our stomach that is already there because of emotions. We don't need to make it worse by not eating, not drinking water, you know? Start by drinking some water, maybe make a smoothie. I just made some noodles this morning because, that's my comfort meal every freaking day. But yeah, I had to force myself to eat, and I was not feeling good at all. I wanted to cry every 5 seconds. And then, and it was frustrating because then I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to be sad. We don't want to be sad, but sometimes we have to be sad. And it's okay to be sad. So when we force ourselves to get that little bit of fuel in our body, not only does our brain have a little bit of sustenance to work its magic off of, but so does our body. You know, our heart is already beating fast because we're sad. We don't need our body to then be trying to overcompensate because it's lacking nutrients. You know what I mean? So a nice bowl of fruit, or, you know, a hard-boiled egg, like just something that could be nice on your stomach. A bowl of rice with maybe some like veggies on top. Just make sure you get something in your belly, especially the next day, because I was not feeling good at all, as I mentioned. But then I ended up eating 2 bowls of noodles and cooking more. And I was like, oh, now I feel a little bit better. My anxiety in my body that is from not eating went away, you know, and I know my body's not going to be worried about its next meal. So that is my biggest piece of advice, is do not break the habit that you have already started with your eating routine. With me, I have a bad habit with eating. You know what I mean? I don't know why. I do. And so for that to already be off track, and then to allow something external that is happening in my life to also affect my internal being, you guys, that is a hop, skip, and a mess. I don't know if that's the right saying, but that is just something that we don't want to do. So we need to remember that we have to keep feeding ourselves. We have to keep watering the plants in our house. We have to feed the other animals. You know, we got to stay in our routine. We have a routine for a reason. And I swear, us as humans, if you don't have a routine, we're going to go psycho. My next little bit of advice would be to just kind of sit back and relax and mindfully clean. Not just start going crazy, not be sad. Like, I could literally throw a pissy fit if I wanted to because I have cat hair everywhere, you know? I could be like, oh my God, I'm so sad. I need to get rid of Thumper's food bowl, his water bowl. I need to get rid of the blanket he sat on so it's not reminding me of things. We don't have to be hectic, okay? Time is of the essence. We have all the time of the world, even though it feels like we don't, because we just watched, you know, life slip away. We still need to be mindful about the actions and the way we're going about our day, you know? So just mindfully clean. Don't go crazy. Don't throw stuff away, but wipe off the counter, do the dishes, vacuum a little bit. Just make it feel cozy for you, because always a cluttered space is a cluttered mind, and when you have a cluttered mind and then you walk into a cluttered space, it's a blackout. You're just gonna be like, it won't feel good. You need a nice place to lay down, or a nice place to take a deep breath and not feel clutter, you know? So yeah. Another thing is light a candle, light some sage. Aromas are everything. And the power of smell and what it does to the mind is really it's really interesting. So if you have like a little oil diffuser or just some sage, I mean, if you want a sage stick, let me know and I will give you one, okay? I will give you one. Because I make them. So just, a clean space with a clean smell will help just clear everything away. And also get rid of any negative energy that you might feel. Yesterday after it happened, all of a sudden I smelled sage and I was like, oh, probably the best thing we could be doing right now is burning sage. Burning sage, just get rid of anything. One of my go-to smells that I've been putting in my oil diffuser is lemongrass and lavender. So if you are out there and are like, dang, I don't have anything good that I like to smell, or sometimes, I don't know, you don't know what to smell, that is my advice for you. I think it smells pretty good. So my next thing that I kind of already talked about a little bit was how important it is for us to maintain a routine. I do a to-do list every single morning because it helps my mind not have to remember every single thing that I want to try to get done. And it also helps me feel productive. I didn't want to do a to-do list this morning. I did not want to write down anything that I needed to do, wanted to do. I didn't care to do that. But then the little voice in my head, the little cat was like, dude, don't lose your motivation now. Like, no. Now is not the time. Now is the time to practice. I was listening to something. I don't know if it was an audiobook. I don't know if it was just a lecture or a talk or just whatever. But this guy was explaining that a lot of us have a false sense of dedication and commitment, and that what we've gained as dedication and being a committed person is really just doing what we like to do, and we consider ourselves dedicated to that task. When in reality, according to this little lecture that I heard, somebody who's committed and dedicated does everything, what they don't want to do and what they want to do, but they get what they don't want to do done first, and then they go and have fun. It's like, his example was a person who gets up every morning at 6 o'clock in the morning and goes skiing. My comparison to that was every single day how dedicated I was to gymnastics. I could break my neck and I'd still go back because I was so dedicated. But he asked the question, how you are doing something that you like to do. How dedicated are you to things that you don't like to do? How dedicated are you to waking up every morning and cleaning, or, self-care? It was a whole bunch of different examples, but I was like, dang, I thought that I learned dedication and commitment at such a young age. I always showed up to practice even when I didn't want to. You know what I mean? But as I've gotten older, I've learned that dedication and commitment is like what he explained, and what he's kind of just trying to put into perspective is that being a dedicated person is just being committed to getting things done, whether it's something you want to do or don't want to do. So like I said, I didn't want to do a to-do list. I didn't want to start cleaning. I didn't want to eat. But those are pretty much the things that I needed to do first. I wanted to lay down. I wanted to sit outside in the sun and cry. I wanted to, play a bunch of music and just distract myself, But I did what I didn't want to do. So I think that if we get into the routine and the habit of making a to-do list of not just the things that we know we need to do, especially at times like this, because I can go back and say, all right, I had a checklist of things that I needed to do. I did the dishes. I did some laundry, I swept. I cleaned a fish tank. You can look back at the end of the day and be like, hey, I had a pretty shitty night, I had a pretty shitty yesterday, a couple pretty shitty yesterdays, but I still got some stuff done, So if you get stuff done when it's the hardest, because it's only going to get easier from here, I promise you. I know I hated when I heard people say that to me, but it will get easier as the days pass. So if you can look back and see that you did it, you kept your head up, you got some tasks done, you didn't run a marathon. This isn't about running a marathon and getting a gold medal the next day, right? This is about just understanding internally that, hey, I just had a shift in my life. The energy is shifting. Me, myself, am shifting. I see the world differently. As I said, with all of these things shifting around us, that's why it is still so important to have some sort of consistency, to have some sort of routine, you know? I remember when I first got into my car crash years back, I could not understand what it meant to fall into a whole new lifestyle, like a whole new way of living. You know, if you lose an animal, you have a whole new lifestyle now. You know what I mean? It's just like getting a puppy. You know, you got to change and make some shifts around. So, as everything else is changing, we still need a sense of consistency. And so that's why I think it's so important to have a set routine. And two, you know, have maybe some friends that you can email, you can talk to, you can confide in. I mean, heck, if you don't have anybody that you feel you can talk to, you can turn to a YouTube video and, you know, maybe you won't feel so alone. Like watch, you know, you can watch one of my videos, I swear. Some of my videos I do feel like I'm alone and you can tell, so then maybe like two alone people will both make each other feel better. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make you feel better. So yeah, just remember that new habits are very easily formed because our old ones just go out the window. Distress does so much on the body. It is so weird. We're out here living this physical reality while we have all these internal emotions that it's a pretty crazy time. And I think life is very interesting. So yes, it is very important to stay focused and stay motivated because, as I said, the motivation will slip away as fast as brushing your hair every morning. If you just say, frick it, I'm pissed off, I'm not going to brush my hair, you'll just wait till the next day, and then you'll wait till the next day. So I don't want that to happen to you guys. I don't want you to feel like you've just been pushing off stuff until the next day, waiting until you feel better, when you could be doing it while you're sad. And I know that sounds silly, but I used to feel like I had to sit and wait for myself to feel better. But the longer you wait, the more like you're pushing the days out further because you have so much work you need to get started, but we're just expecting the end result. See, that was another thing that guy in that video was talking about. He goes, then there's these other people who sit down and want to learn everything that a pianist who has practiced for 25 years has learned, and they want to learn it in the blink of 5 seconds. But if you ask the person who trained playing the piano, it's been a beautiful, painful, crazy experience becoming this professional that they're at. It didn't just happen overnight. Their dedication, you know, is different than somebody who sits down and says, all right, I want to be dedicated, but I want to learn it now. That's not what that man sat down years and years and years back. They wanted to sit down and see what it was like to learn the process of learning to play the piano. And now, through the process of learning and the pain, both physically and mentally, they can play any song that they want to. But it's not that they expected change and their brain and everything, their environment, to just change over the blink of an eye. So we also need to be dedicated and committed to the process of healing. You know what I mean? We can't just expect bunnies and ducks to come up the next day. That's not where the journey lies. The journey lies in the process itself. You know, that's where we learn the most. You can't learn the most just having things come to you and just boom, you wake up and you're like, oh, here, I'm here. You know? It's like, where's the story? Where's the depth? So, yes, stay focused and stay motivated. I promise, I know it's hard, but it's possible. Anything is possible. So a couple little other things that I want to say, just because I don't want this video to be too long. And again, I kind of wanted this to be more of just a reminder as opposed to a like, hey, this is how you have to act if you lose a loved one. These are just kind of like what I have reminded myself about. And I can already tell that it's going to help my journey be a lot easier. So my other thing is that it's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. But it's almost even more important to know when it's time to give ourselves a break from the crying. So, for example, this morning, I was taking everything personally. Everything was making me sad. Everything I looked at made me sad. This made me sad. That made me sad. And, you know, I was like, well, she doesn't even know what's going on. She's not sad, but she can tell I'm upset. So she's walking around with her head down. You know, my other cat who knows what is going through his head. You know, everything, the plants are waiting to be watered. You know, so it's okay to be sad, but it's okay to then sit there and be like, all right, hold on. My head is starting to hurt. my chest is starting to hurt. I need to do a couple deep breaths. I need to stretch out my body, maybe get a little glass of water, but enough is enough. You know, it's kind of like when we're a toddler and you hear these kids having temper tantrums and mom's like, okay, enough is enough. Like, I know you're sad, but we can handle this in other ways. It's okay to be sad, but it's also okay for us to work on calming ourselves down, because I promise you, I can go from 0 to 100 real quick with a panic attack, and that is so unhealthy for our body. It's unhealthy for our mind. It can take us 3 days to get back from one panic attack that we had. You know what I mean? So understanding our limit of, you know, I'm not gonna just, I don't know how to explain it, because like I said, I don't want this to sound like, oh, you're not allowed to do that. But me learning my threshold of where my boiling point is and allowing myself to not get over that boiling point. So I still remain in a state of self-control. I'm in control of myself. I'm in control of my thoughts and my emotions and my breathing. But I can tell if I keep it up, I will be out of control. So I just think that that mindfulness of just being aware of the whole situation, not covering yourself and blanketing yourself with a whole bunch of distractions. Don't go and blast a whole bunch of loud music, you know, to either block out your thoughts or then to, you know, these poor songs that are on the radio might come on and now you hate them. And it's, you know, it's because the timing wasn't right. We needed to just sit and listen and absorb our thoughts, process them. So yes, take your time, be patient with yourself. My tip that has helped me is to not listen to music when I am upset. Really, I've gone into the habit that I'm not listening to much music anymore at all. For like various reasons, but I think that during times of sadness, although music can be so moving and so like healing and this, that, and the other, what all these people say, one thing I haven't heard anybody tell me or anybody else is to just like turn it off for a second. You know, we say the turn off social media part, but we don't really think about the other distractions that might be in the background as well. So I'm gonna be the one to tell you that maybe if you are having a really hard time, allow this to be time to sit in your thoughts. That's scary, it's painful, but like what's happening right now, sometimes life forces us outside of our comfort zone, and that is absolutely okay. Life has its own course for both itself and for us. So, you know, as I said, if we don't take everything so personally and we see it more so as a, okay, how can I use this pain and transform it into positivity? You know, how can I still be radiating light for those who are also in pain? You know, because like I said, I know I was joking when I said 2 people alone, like we might make each other feel better, but if 2 people are deeply in pain and are so just sad, it's really hard to uplift each other. So like I said, when I'm sad, she's sad. And I don't like that. And I notice that. And I can see that that's where positivity and light comes from. It stems from us radiating love even when, you know, death is around. And I think that's the magic of these situations, is how easily the dark can engulf us. That's easy. But to see how much light is at the end of the tunnel, that's you know, that's where I think the journey is at. And like I said, if we just rush to the light at the end of the tunnel, we won't understand what it's like to navigate in the dark. Navigate in a place that's uncomfortable. We don't just want to go from one ball of light to another ball of light. You're getting pushed out of one comfort zone. Okay, well, the whole goal is not to then just rush into another comfort zone and then be distracted for a while, you know? No. So, yeah. It's okay also if you want to have some time by yourself, if you want to go on a hike, if you want to go on a walk. It's okay to tell your friends you just don't want to hang out, you know? Because like I said, there's different forms of distractions. And that's one of the things I used to do a lot when my father first passed away. I'd always just go hang out with people. I was never alone. I was never in the house. I was never cleaning. I was never self-caring. I was just trying to make my mind keep spinning and rolling on a path. But, you know, sometimes that path is going nowhere but in circles. So we got to take a step off of the track and be like, all right, dang it. That path was cool, but now I gotta start another one. It's a little early, thought a little soon, but it is what it is. So, yeah, I kind of just wanted to say I'm really sorry if you guys have lost anybody, a loved one, an animal, a friend, a home, if you've had to move, you know, my condolences are with you. And just know that you're not by yourself. You know, there's a lot of houses and like cars. There's always somebody in them. And for us to think that every single household or car or shopping mall or grocery store is filled with somebody who is just giggling and never, ever, ever has felt pain in the world, it's kind of silly. So, you know that you're not by yourself, and a lot of people are in pain. And if we use this pain and transform it into positive energy, I think we can help each other in this world just a little bit more. So yeah, that is all I have to say today. From me to you, peace, loves, and blessings. All right.